Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Look, let me just go ahead and address the first thing. Like I told you all, I'm pretty much over just posting unnecessary content as it pertains to the Charlie Kirk situation. I only want to post videos if there are major updates. And in my opinion, this is a major update, like a really big major update. A lot of you all, I don't know because I don't keep up with other people, as I've told you all. And even when I was keeping up, I wasn't watching a lot of people's content because the videos are just too long. So I just kind of rely on you all to tell me in the comment section what I'm missing, if I'm telling you things that you already know. But I also know that you all don't care if I'm sharing something that you already know, because you particularly would like to hear a particular person's perspective or their views on the same topic, right? And so with this is a pretty big deal because apparently the feds have made a mistake with the Tyler Robinson narrative, and it's pretty much consistent with what we've been saying. We believe that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's pretty obvious to a lot of us that he is a patsy. It's just a matter of proving it, right? We can bark and yell at, howl at the moon all day long, all night long. But if we can't actually prove it, then it really does not matter. You all in the comment section that call me other content creators' names, I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. Hit the like button on your way in if you do not mind. This video will not be about this, but I will give some love to apparently some information that both Baron Coleman and James Lee, this will be James Lee's video clip, but this is in reference to some things I believe Baron Coleman allegedly has presented to the world regarding a couple of the Tyler Robinson video footages. And we're gonna react to this together before we get into some of this paperwork and some of the new information that's come out. So with that, let's go ahead and kick this off with this.
Attention to these shadows. I want you to pay close attention to these shadows. Do you guys remember these photos of Tyler Robinson allegedly walking around the neighborhood near UVU the day of the assassination? Baron Coleman has once again found some peculiar inconsistencies in these photos. He says, use the shadow length calculator linked in this post, or whichever one you prefer, and check out how long the shadows of a 6-foot man should be in Orem at these times of the day on September 10th, 2025. And he's referring to, obviously, these shadows that are coming off of Tyler Robinson at 8:07 a.m. and at 11:49 a.m. What could he have found here? Let's take a look. I set the location to a custom location in Orem, Utah. Here are the coordinates. Date and time, September 10th, 2025 at 8:07 a.m. And here's what we get. Shadow length, 29 feet, 2 inches. Here they are side by side. And I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting there, but it looks a little different, right? This shadow coming off of Tyler Robinson looks maybe about 10 feet, 12 feet to be generous. This looks much longer, 29 feet, they say. But I think this is going to open up a lot more questions now, like where exactly was Tyler? Where was that street? Where was that photo taken? Or maybe better yet, when was Tyler?
Right. Great question. Similar to the photo of this person that's allegedly supposed to be Tyler Robinson in the Black American Eagle shirt. And, just from the shoulder stature of that person, it doesn't look like Tyler to me. It looks like someone that may be, vaguely or remotely similar to Tyler in some ways, skin color, maybe height. But there are it just looks off. It does not look like the same person. And I find it even more interesting that this person, we can't fully see their face. That being the photo in the stairway, or this, where he allegedly was going up to the roof or coming down from the roof, whichever it was, with the backpack on, where we can't see any rifle. But I also want to state that, just for the record, I don't really know what I'm looking at here with this second photo, like this recreation, because the figure here that's supposed to be the person looks super, super short. Like, is this how I'm not understanding what I'm looking at? Maybe they understand better than I do, but I think this would have helped if we could have seen this figure with the shadow on the actual street, like recreated on the actual street. I think that would have helped. I think having this figure stand here on a blanket white plane with the coordinates showing could give other people who want to not believe this, it gives them ammo or gives them leeway to provide pushback, right? So I think that would help if we were to see this recreation a little bit more specific to that street. I know this is supposed to be the results of what it would look like as far as the shadow, which is what is most important. But if you were to recreate the sidewalk or this driveway along with the street that he's walking on, if you was to recreate all of that with this new image, I think that would help quite a bit. So I wanted to just start off with that one. That makes a huge difference. So yeah, with that, man, I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's go ahead and shout out to Ryan Mata. His video was the one I saw first, which is the only reason that I even knew that there was even something worth mentioning, you know, something even worth looking into. I keep forgetting. Thank you. Your mic is off to the side again, Didi. Thank you. I appreciate it. That should be a lot better, right? My bad, y'all. Somebody said finally. Yo, my bad. That's so funny. My bad, y'all. I told you I have this new setup, so give me grace. Give me grace. Didi got a, what is it? Didi got a deep voice. Oh, that's so funny, man. You smoking, bro? Nah, I don't smoke. Y'all are so funny. All right, man. So shout out to Ryan Mata. Let's go ahead and hop right into this. This first clip, I'm going to allow him to sort of introduce or lay the groundwork, right? The foundation for what this video is going to be about. And then we're going to together dig into the paperwork and we're going to see what they're talking about here. And if this actually aligns with the new narrative that's being pushed here.
Some big breaking news coming in on the Charlie Kirk and the whole Tyler Robinson fiasco. So this newly released message just from Sam Parker just came out.
It's also important to note that I've edited this video so that I've taken the profanity out, or at least as much as I could think of. I've taken the profanity out. I've taken the word assassinate, you know, that word out, because I usually just say pow pow. I've taken that word out, and I've also taken out any words that mention KILL, you know, so that this video is not flagged. Yeah.
And showed that the text messages that were Tyler Robinson admitting and turning himself in, those were all created after Tyler Robinson was already arrested. Now we have a new batch of messages that were coming out. This is version 1.0 and 2.0. So version 1.0 was, they were the conspirators, right? Whoever was setting up Tyler Robinson, they were setting him up to get mowed down in a police shootout, wrap it up in a nice tiny little bow, crazy conspiracy, dude went off the hinges. Charlie Kirk went after the cops, got himself caught by suicide, put a nice little tiny bow on it, wrap it up, slap it on the ass, and call it a conspiracy theory to anybody that questions it. Well, Tyler Robinson spoiled that plan when he just walked into the police station and turned himself in. They didn't see that one coming. From that exact moment in time, they had to scramble. The man was already in custody, and they created this whole facade about his parents turning himself in, and then some law enforcement officer who just happened to work with the CIA and was involved in all these other conspiracy theories magically happened to be the family friend that Tyler's family contacted and were like, hey, we don't want our son to get shot. Can you help us turn our son in? And then all of a sudden the videos and all the evidence of his family turning himself in, it was all bullshit. It was never existed. They deleted the evidence. Well, now we're starting to find out exactly what really happened. They've been framing Tyler Robinson from the very beginning. Anybody with a brain would have told you that. And then just think to yourself about the Tim Pools, the Benny Johnsons, the Cullen Ruggs, the Alex Joneses, everybody relentlessly attacking Candace Owens, all turned out to be complete frauds. Here we are, Candace Owens was right. Everybody that Candace Owens was right. They were all wrong. We told you so. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty in the war with Iran. They had to Charlie Kirk to get their war with Iran. Charlie Kirk was the one thing, the one man that was powerful enough with a snap of his fingers could have taken down the entire Israeli lobby. He had a political machine that would have guaranteed that he could have made and broke any president, any politician that wasn't going to actually put America first. He had the resources, he had the institutions, he had the financing, he had the infrastructure, he had the company and corporation to all do it. And they had no choice but to execute Charlie Kirk in front of all of us, to send a message to anybody else who might think about coming out against Israel. They JFK, they MLK, they RFK, and now killed Charlie Kirk, and every one of our sons and daughters that they sent off to die in these pointless forever wars. Are you awake yet, Anon? Are you ready to stop paying your taxes and join the revolution? Or are you going to be a good little tax slave and go down with the Titanic? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. We out. Peace.
So yeah, that is a really big deal. That is a really big deal, but it's one thing to listen to somebody talk about it on video. Okay, somebody saying that Baron Corbin had the actual street reenacted. Okay, that's dope. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. That's a really big deal. That's a really, really big deal. But let's take it a step further. I think let's go to the original source that he cited here, which is another person that I respect, that being Sam Parker. Let's read a little bit of here, and then we're going to delve into the paperwork here that he showed. It says, we're supposed to believe that in the same message conversations between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, the following contradictions happened. Let me first see how this looks on you all's end. Let me see if I can make this a little bit better for you all. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see. Tyler, in one case, Tyler worries about retrieving the gun because he doesn't want to leave any evidence behind. But he had already planted a note and now sends a bunch of messages, leaving a ton of evidence behind. Well, for the record, this is something that I've been saying from the jump, and you all know this because a lot of you all have been following my coverage of this entire case from the beginning. And something that all of us have been saying from the beginning is, so hold up, you're saying that Tyler Robinson allegedly Charlie Kirk disassembled the weapon. Well, let's just leave that part out because that's up in there. They're saying that the feds never officially said that. Only the governor stated that, but it's not actually in the charging document. So let's just leave that out for the sake of argument. He took the gun with him, though, so that he can leave it in the woods. Why would he take the gun with him if he plans to just leave it? Here's a bigger question that I don't think people have asked. Before we even continue, I want you all to see my face when I ask this question. Has anybody thought about this? Remember the picture of the gun? Let me see. Gun found in woods. Okay, let's pull this up together. Hold on. We'll come right back, I promise you, to Sam Parker's post. Let's look at this together, though. As a matter of fact, I'll just easier if I just download it. Let me just download it and just pull it up. Let's just do it this way. I don't know if I asked this question on this channel before. So this will be great for me to be able to just see what you all think in real time about this yourself. Of course, it didn't work because it never works. So I got a better idea. Yep. Now it has to work. I download a photo and it never really works in real time when I'm on live with you all. And I hate to burn spare time. So I have to screenshot the photo. It's almost like I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. It's just very strange that always happens. Everybody remembers this photo, I'm sure. So this is the photo, obviously, of the alleged rifle that Tyler Robinson allegedly used. Allegedly love the shirt, though. I appreciate that. Link is in the description if you're interested, to the merch store. This is the rifle that they allege that Tyler Robinson used to pow Charlie Kirk. Okay, here's the first issue. Why would Tyler Robinson go out of his way to take the rifle from the roof so that there's no evidence, but he left the screwdriver on the roof just so that he can then leave it at another place that also happens to be property owned by Palantir. But we've been through all of that already. So let's go to the next step. What's the next issue with this photo? What would you all say is the next obvious issue with this photo? I'm gonna give you all about 15 seconds. I'm gonna refill my teacup, and I'm gonna come back to see what you all said. Bingo. I came right back and somebody put it right on the money. Here it is. Very good job, Latasha. It's in a box. Where did this box come from? Think about this. Remember, Tyler Robinson was allegedly running off the roof with the rifle in a bag. Remember that? He had the rifle in a bag. So if the rifle was in a bag, why would you even need a box, first and foremost? Secondly, if you have it in here, why would you? It's not making sense. So you have a bag for the gun that you're using, but then you're going to run off with the gun, leave the gun in the woods, but not before you take it out of the bag that already had the rifle concealed, to place it in a box, neatly wrapped. I believe they said this box was neatly wrapped in a towel. Really? Really? That doesn't make sense. So this alone is like something's off here. There's something not being shared. Somebody said, Didi, that's what I said. It looks recently bought out of the box. I agree. I agree. I really believe, everybody, that we are in real time, not only destroying the Fed's narrative, but I believe in real time we're watching them make human mistakes. We're literally watching them make mishaps, and we're exposing it in real time. Has this ever happened in history? Normally, because all these other psyops to this level were, I believe, pre-internet, right? It was before the internet. Somebody says stock photo, not the rifle. Yeah, man. Somebody said that they feel like this is intentional. Yeah, it's just weird. Like, these are obvious mishaps. It's like, what's going on here, you know? But we can come back to that later if you all would like to. Let's get back to this post by Sam Parker, though. Okay. Boom. All right. So he says, then Tyler Robinson says he's sorry to involve Lance, but then he goes on to involve Lance. Says he's sorry about being the one that unalived Charlie, which that part right there, we don't have to constantly repeat ourselves, but that was also weird too, because I said, okay, so you want me to believe that he's going through all this trouble not to get caught, while simultaneously not only admitting fault via text messages in the internet, Discord or whatever, but he's saying it in a way that is so straightforward, where it's where it will be an open shut case for the prosecution. You see what I'm saying? Not that that's impossible, not that nobody has ever been that silly to do it in the past, but with everything else considered that we found, all the inconsistencies, all the red flags, all the holes and the gaps in this narrative, in this case, just as important are these things here. This matters. He's going through all this trouble to cover his tracks, while also admitting straightforward, where nothing's up in the air, nothing's coded, I'm sorry that I did this to Charlie. Get out of here. Goes on to say, assertively explains he needed to unalive Charlie to stamp out hate. Right. Does not. Come on, bro. We're over this this generic. It's like a generic, what is it called? Shoot, I really want to remember this word or this term because it works perfectly. It's like a generic playbook right, that they use. It's a generic playbook that they just pull from because it works. All they need is to just boom, 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 hit all the points, and they can get this swooped under the rug like they always do and keep it moving. Except they probably didn't anticipate this amount of people to actually be invested in exposing their lies, because so many people, even in the conservative party, had grown this disdain for Charlie. So maybe they didn't anticipate so many people to care. But let's continue. Says he wanted to take this secret to his grave, but then goes on to confess the crime to all his Discord buddies, then says he's going to willingly turn himself in. Says he wanted to live to old age, but then goes on to decide to go out on his own terms with the cops now. Right. Says he doesn't want to face the court system, but then goes on to decide to willingly turn himself in to face the court system. Right. If you think that by the way, if you turned yourself in, if you're admitting this fault to your family, like they've been telling us that he was doing, why would you be pleading not guilty? There shouldn't even be a trial here. Convict him, or maybe it's still a trial, but he's pleading guilty. Right? Maybe he's pleading insanity. None of that's happening. Not that we're aware of. And after that wild conversation full of nothing but immediate contradictions, he confessed to his parents, retired detective friend, and LDS bishop, and posted his confession to Discord right before turning himself in. But then goes on to refuse to confess to cops right after turning himself in. Did I miss any other contradiction? And if that's not enough, the evidence for all these messages is photographs of the note and messages, not the actual note, not the actual messages or devices themselves. And that's going to be important here in a moment once we get into the paperwork, once you realize what they're choosing to use for evidence and what they're choosing not to use for evidence. It goes on to say, and they were divulged in stages months apart. And if that's still not enough, the prosecutor's written argument opposing the defense's motion for delay continuance of the preliminary hearing says the state does not intend to offer evidence obtained through forensic extractions. This is the part I was talking about. It says the state does not intend to offer evidence obtained through forensic extractions of electronics seized in this case, meaning all these messages that are being publicly released aren't even going to be used by the prosecution. What the world? Yeah. But this is some of the information we knew that already. So let's take it to the next step. Let's see here. I got the paperwork downloaded via email so that we can look through it ourselves. Okay, let me zoom in and let's do it that way. Okay. Let me see what that looks like on you all's end. I probably can zoom in a little bit more so that you all can see the words a lot more clearly, like that. Okay. What does that look like? Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good on you all's end. So let's see here. It says paragraph 5, in page 5, paragraph 3, on 9/12, so just 2 days after the fact, at approximately 0100 hours, FBI Special Agent Lang conducted an interview with the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. The boyfriend was identified as Lance Twiggs. During the interview, Lance showed investigators text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The following is the content of those messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. Well, the first thing I would ask here is this footage available? Is there a way for us to request? Has anyone even attempted to fill out a FOIA or something so that we can get the footage of this alleged or supposed interview that took place between this FBI special agent and Lance Twiggs? Because something tells me that this interview may have never taken place. During the interview, Lance showed investigators text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The following is the content of those messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. Tyler says, I am still okay, my love. Really, man? I'm not saying people can't talk like that. I'm not saying people don't talk like that, but really, I'm okay. Maybe that's I don't know. Do y'all know people that talk like that? But I'm still stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. What? That sounds like an AI generated message. But am still stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Like, are you in a play? Is this a stage play, bro? Tyler goes on to say, shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Of old age? What? Who talks? Anybody in 2026 who speaks that way, even older, who speaks that way of old age? I am sorry to involve you. See what I'm saying here? This language here is almost as if let's say you don't know what to believe here. Just entertain this for just a second. If this Fed slop thing is actually true and that's what's taking place, and our theories, our suspicions are spot on, just imagine this for a second. If you're the Feds and you're saying, how can we generate a message thread that makes it obvious there's no room for denial that Tyler did this? Well, what if we generate text messages between him and Lance Twiggs? First and foremost, it would make sense because this is a person people would believe he would confide in. Number two, what if we don't make it as obvious as him just stating, I did this to Charlie, but we embed it in sort of the middle of a conversation speaking about other details of the case, right? So shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. So there's no denying he's talking about a rifle here, right? To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret. See what I'm saying? I had hoped to keep this secret. Who would say that? Who would say that in that moment? Till I died of old age. Oh my gosh. Who believes this? Lance allegedly responds and says, you weren't the one who did it, right? Tyler, I am sorry. And again, these are messages that we saw already, but with this new context, it's important that we read these over. Lance says, I thought they caught the person. Tyler, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. Now, maybe you all know this, maybe you don't. When are they stating that these, well, I know the answer to that. These text messages would have to be taking place immediately after everything happened, right? This isn't a day or two later. Why is that important? That's important here because he just stated here that they grabbed somebody, some crazy old dude, which is the one guy that we've been speaking about. But how would Tyler Robinson know this? Then interrogated someone in similar clothing. How would they know this? How much longer after the fact was these messages taking place? Because there's no way Tyler Robinson would know who they interviewed. There's no way that they would even know that he grabbed what's the guy's name? I forget his name. What's the old guy's name? George Zinn, I believe is his name. Tyler Robinson, it would be impossible, almost impossible for him to even know this. How would he know that they grabbed somebody? So that alone, I think they messed up there too, right? Tyler said, I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point. Drop point. Really, bro? That sounds like police. Like, that's how professionals talk. Drop point. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Yeah, to me, yeah, this is beyond weird. Page 5, paragraph 4. Lance showed FBI Special Agent Lang additional text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The following is the content of those messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. Tyler allegedly states 3 hours ago, there was an officer with a K9 walking nearby the area, hoping that Pooch has a bad sniffer. To me, it just, the construction of these sentences, the you can almost pick up people's personality by the way in which they type, obviously. I'm getting different personalities from Tyler, right? I'm getting different texting styles, different speaking, different ways that he speaks, right? So, for example, that hoping that Pooch has a bad sniffer. What? I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. See that part right there? That's even weird. As soon as I got to my vehicle, how come you didn't say the type of car you were in? As soon as I got to my Charger, as soon as I got to my Honda, as soon as I got to my Volkswagen, to my vehicle, it's like vague enough where this could apply. It could work, right? Because if the feds needed to adjust this story later, it could hurt them if they put the specific type of vehicle, and it turns out that there's no proof that the type of vehicle that Tyler mentioned here can be seen on camera anywhere. So it's easy, or it's safer to say vehicle. It goes on to say, because it sounds like the police couldn't get in for a long while because of the traffic. Needless to say, I'm going to be late coming home, my B. Lance allegedly says, just stay safe. Tyler says, I will. Let's move on to the next one. So this here is also very interesting, right? It says Lance showed FBI additional text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The text messages were photographed by investigators as Lance showed them the text messages. The following is the text content of one of the pictures that investigators took of the messages, which, again, this is all information that we have heard already between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. Tyler says, I'm sorry, but I think this might be it. If the way is clear, I can try and come your way to say goodbye. After that, I have a spot in mind that I'll call the police to. So that means he's claiming to want to turn himself in. Lance says, are there cops outside? And why are you calling the police anywhere? Tyler says, not yet, but I have no doubts they will be on me within the hour. I will be giving my location up and going out on my own terms. I have no intention of being drugged through the courts in front of the country. Can I come see you? After that, I can call my dad and see if he's willing to help me or not. Huh. I'm just sitting with this for just a moment, because this may be the most, now in all honesty, this text message here may be the one that would make the most sense. This is the language of a person who's just done something, and this is what I would expect. This part right here that's circled in red. It's just everything else doesn't really align with it, right? As Sam Parker has already pointed out, that we read at the very beginning. He wants to go out on his own terms, does not want to get drugged through the courts in front of the country. He's going to call his dad to see if he's willing to help him or not. Lance goes on to say, I'm just at my parents' right now. Maybe I could make an excuse to head home for a bit. Tyler says, you would need to do that right now. Lance says, any ideas? Okay. So Tyler, all in one conversation, believes that they're investigating George Zinn and some other person, which, again, how would he know that? There's no way he would be able to know that. Not hours after, not just within the first 2 or 3 hours after the fact. That would make no sense. There's no way he would know that. I'm trying to take myself back to September 10th and trying to remember when we first got that information about George Zinn and the other guy that they apprehended on the side of the road. I don't know if it was immediate because, if I'm trying to think from both sides here and trying to be fair, could he have seen this on the internet? Maybe, but I think he would have mentioned that. I think if he would have saw it on the internet, Lance would have saw it on the internet. So if it's not the internet, if this information hadn't became public yet, how would he have known this? But even with that information, he somehow already believes that they're on to him. How? How would he? What would lead him to believe that? And now he's talking about potentially having a shootout with them. Interesting. It's also not given, like, as I'm reading these text messages, I'm not getting crazy person vibes. I'm getting a person, whoever's typing these seem very poised or making sense, and Lance is asking all the right questions. These are not sounding like crazy people to me. Maybe you all see it differently, but that's not what I'm picking up from this. And then we got this one here. Let's see. Says, after reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson says, "I'm still okay, my love." Okay, we read that. Roommate, wow. Robinson says, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Interesting. Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" See what I'm saying? Like that. Is that something you would ask? Like, just place yourself. I know everybody's different. There's different humans in the world. But let's just think about something for a second. If your friend just reached out to you and told you that they did something of this magnitude, of this scale, would you ask that question, how long have you been planning this? Why are you wanting to go into great details about something like that? Don't you want to see them in person first? It's like you would only do this if you're trying to help create some sort of thread. We all know how the internet works. We all know that they're going to be able to retrieve this history. You say, well, maybe these guys weren't the brightest. Maybe, they say they were transferees. Yeah, but we just read other messages from them. They seem pretty coherent and aware to me. Lance was asking questions like, and why would you call the police anywhere? That's a person that's very sound in the mind, in the mind. They're thinking these things through. That's not adding up, in my opinion. How long have you been planning this? He says, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson goes on to say, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. We read this already. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. See, this is what I'm saying. In a towel. We just saw that the rifle was in a box. And you can't say, well, maybe the box was just something the feds brought to transport the rifle. Well, even if that was the case, wouldn't you want to take a picture of the rifle as you found it first before touching it? Of course you would. Why would you own the only picture we have available of it is in a box that Tyler has not ever referenced. He said he left it wrapped in a towel. But here's another question. Why would you wrap it in a towel if it's already in a bag? Remember, running off the roof, whoever that person was, they're alleging that it's Tyler. He had a bag with him. Why would you take it out of a bag to wrap it in a towel? And where did you get the towel from? Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks. See what I'm saying here? Even this question, remember how I was engraving bullets? It's like they're sprinkling little nuggets throughout this supposedly real conversation so that they can help create this narrative, in this case against Tyler. Remember how I was engraving bullets? See what I'm saying here? Like, why was it important to even mention that here? He's sending these long messages. See, notice how much Tyler Robinson is typing as opposed to the roommate. Normally, in a case like this, the person who did it probably has the least amount to say. And it's normally the person who had no idea this was going to take place who would have a lot more to say. So many questions, so much confusion. But instead, you see Robinson. What am I getting at here? This would only make sense to me if we believe that these are orchestrated text messages, planted text messages. If they are, and because maybe Tyler Robinson did really type this, but if he did not, I'm just wondering if it's just obvious to me that the more he typed, the more that we're seeing from Tyler Robinson was specifically designed so that the feds would have more information to use. Look, he mentioned engraving bullets. We told you there were things engraved on the bullets. This here proves that he did that too. Look, he's talking about the serial. There's no serial number, and he left it wrapped in a towel. How long have you planted this? He even admitted himself it was a bit over a week. He admitted to doing it. He said yes. He even gave the reason why he did it. And then this is the last part here where it says, with the exception of a photograph of a burnt note, doorbell surveillance from a single property, a DNA report regarding items found in Robinson's apartment, and a tool marks report, each of the witnesses and exhibits has been known to the defense for at least 6 months before the preliminary hearing, prosecutors argue. Most of the evidence to be presented, at the preliminary hearing, including the DNA report regarding the rifle found at the scene, was provided to the defense in October of 2025. The state does not intend to offer evidence obtained through forensic extractions of electronics seized in this case. The state does not intend to offer evidence obtained through forensic extractions of electronics seized in this case. What in the world? Why? This is not even a rhetorical question. This is just a outright honest question. I'm curious. Why would you not use the electronics? Let me make sure. The state does not intend to offer evidence obtained through forensic extractions of electronic seized in this case. Why not? Has anybody been able to answer that question? It's a great question. If he had the towel, why not use the towel to wipe his fingerprints? Right. Another great point. Why would Twiggs photograph and then burn a note if Twiggs wasn't setting Robinson up? Right. A lot of people have alleged that they believe Lance Twiggs was a plant from the beginning. Maybe. Another great point. You can get a lot of info from metadata. And where's that? That's a great question. Yeah, I'm not, that doesn't make sense. The only thing that I could think of as to why they would not use information from the devices, that's wild. That's one of your biggest go-tos. You're going to use just the photographs of them? Really? That's a dead giveaway. They have a metadata problem. Exactly. And that's my reason. If they use the electronics themselves, they know that even if the prosecution, because remember, a lot of people forget this, the prosecution was able to pick out, the prosecution or the feds or the judge or whoever actually picked out Tyler Robinson's defense team. I don't want people to forget that. They picked out his defense team. If I remember that correctly, I don't know if that's been debunked. But from my understanding, they picked out his defense team, which is wild. How does that, what does that mean? How is that possible? Why is it also relevant? Because even if the defense team for Tyler Robinson is in on it and they're just playing their role, going through the motions to get through this trial to find Tyler Robinson guilty, that doesn't change or prevent or stop the public, lunatics like myself, like many others out here, to look into the metadata ourselves. The defense doesn't have to do it. We could do it. So it's safe if you don't even use it. This right here is all we needed to see. This person, I'm done covering Charlie Kirk, y'all. Not what I said. Not what I said. I said I'm done covering Charlie Kirk pointless videos unless there's major updates. Get yourself together, man. You might need to go and see your doctor. So yeah, pretty big deal here. Yeah, I've heard that you can edit the metadata, but you can also see the history. From my understanding, you can see the history of the edits, right? So if somebody was to if somebody was to edit, you know, the metadata, professionals can go in there and see the alterations and the history of it. Didi got jokes. Yeah, I got jokes. So yeah, man. All righty. Yeah, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. For sure. Let me get to some of you all's comments. I don't want to make this video too long. Adrian Willer, thank you for the $2 super chat. Check your mic. Sounds a bit okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I'm a bit behind, but fun doesn't work because it's a modern rifle. And so dad fam will recognize it as granddaddy's, right? Thank you for the $2 super chat. Cops often place evidence in boxes for transport. Yeah, okay. So that's what I was saying. But like I was saying before, why would you take a picture of the rifle before that point? Don't you want to show photographs of when you first discovered it? Right? They typically say don't touch, don't bother a crime scene until cops have gotten to there because they want to take pictures of the way they found it. And that's important. That's important. If the first time you're taking a picture of a rifle is only after you've grabbed it, done what you wanted to do with it, place it to a box right before you transport it, that's weird to me. And even if that's the case, where's the towel? The towel should also be in the photo as well, I would assume. You're going to find the rifle, unravel it out of the towel, remove the towel completely out of sight, and then take a picture of it in the box that you brought for the rifle? Let's see. Missed me. Thank you for the $10 super chat. That picture was stock photos. It's not the real pew pew. And they released the photos, I believe, according to Barron's timeline, after Tyler was already turned himself in. The photos on TV of him. Oh. And they released the photos, I believe, according to Barron's timeline, after Tyler was already turned himself in. Interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. That gives you something to think about. Okay. Thank you for the $6 super chat. They have enough to establish reasonable doubt. I wonder if they will. Maybe it was not planned for Tyler Robinson to make it. Maybe a bullet scenario was planned. Yes, that's what Ryan Model was saying at the beginning. I believe the original plan, we have reason to believe that the original plan was to just take him out, which if you are my Patreon, link is in the description to the Patreon. Even if you don't want to pay the $5 fee, you can join as a free member. I remember posting a couple of months back to just be aware of a potential another psyop on its way with this Tyler Robinson case. And I'm still holding on to that possibly being the case, because normally with these cases, the person that we believe to be a patsy, they usually don't make it, right? They usually don't make it. We usually don't get to hear from them. And in this case, we still have not heard from Tyler Robinson himself. We haven't even heard the guy speak as of yet. No footage of him in an interrogation room. No footage of him getting arrested. None of it. So normally they'll get rid of the person, allegedly. They'll just get him out the way. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here. Thank you, Amber, for the membership. Thank you. Thanks for your wisdom and your curiosity. God bless. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting. Big time. The real Powell wasn't published. Interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is the only picture of the rifle I've seen in a box. I'm also curious too, like when they talk about breaking the rifle down, can you break this rifle down the same way that one guy did in the video? Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. I don't know, man. All right, I got another big video I'm working on for you all. Try to have that out hopefully by later today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I don't want to just overdo it. If you have not done yet, if you have not done so as of yet, go and follow Didi Got Clips. We're going to officially start posting quite a bit of content like every day on Didi Got Clips starting next week. Super excited. I already have 3 videos posted over there. You don't want to miss it. It's called Didi Got Clips. It should be linked to this channel as well. Didi space got space clips. So go check that out. I got some other content coming later, completely unrelated to this. Y'all hop in the comment section, give me your thoughts as always. Love y'all, man. Praying for y'all. Pray for me. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. And yeah, I'm gonna catch you all in the next one. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story, is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life
That's better than yours.
You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.